is a set of lies agreed upon. But what if the evidence of those lies has been sitting in a dusty palace since 1929? In 1513, an Ottoman admiral drew a world that shouldn't have been discovered yet. He drew the coast of Antarctica, not as a block of ice, but as a lush, mountainous shoreline. But here's the part that will keep you awake tonight. Antarctica has been buried under a mile of ice for at least 6,000 years. So who surveyed the coast before the ice arrived? And why are we being told this map is just a lucky guess? The year was 1929. The world was on the brink of chaos, but inside the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, a different kind of explosion was about to occur. While cataloging ancient documents, a German theologian named Gustav Deismann found a bundle of parchment. As he unrolled the skin of a gazelle, he didn't find a simple naval chart. He found a masterpiece of forbidden knowledge. This was the work of Piri Reis, a famed Ottoman admiral and cartographer. But as experts looked closer, their blood ran cold. The map, dated 1513, showed the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and, most impossibly, the northern coast of Antarctica. At first, scholars laughed. They called it a mistake, a deformation of the South American coastline. But the coordinates didn't lie. The mountain ranges, the plateaus, and the bays matched the Queen Maud Land region of the South Pole with a precision that was terrifying for the 16th century. Piri Reis himself wrote in the margins that he was not the original author of this data. For decades, the Piri Reis map was treated as a curiosity until 1960. Professor Charles Hapgood of Keene State College sent a request to the United States Air Force 8th Reconnaissance Technical Squadron. He asked a simple yet dangerous question. Does the map accurately show the subglacial features of Antarctica? The response he received from Lieutenant Colonel Harold Ohlmeyer changed history forever. The Air Force confirmed that the geographical details shown in the lower part of the map agreed very remarkably with the results of the 1949 seismic profile of the Antarctic ice cap. This is where the story turns from a mystery into a nightmare for mainstream historians. The map shows the coastline before it was covered by ice. According to our current geological timeline, the last time the Queen Maud Land region was ice-free was at least 6,000 years ago. This creates a logical paradox that academia refuses to touch. To produce such a map, the original cartographer would have needed to be on the ground, surveying the land before the glaciers claimed it. That means a civilization existed during the Neolithic period that possessed advanced maritime technology, spherical trigonometry, and the ability to calculate longitude, something we didn't master until the 18th century. We are looking at a fingerprint of a lost world that existed while we were supposedly living in caves. This map was never supposed to be here. It is a glitch in the matrix of our past. Piri Reis was a man of his time, but his sources were not. He claimed some of his charts were the lost maps of the ancients. Rumors have long swirled that these documents were survivors of the Great Library of Alexandria. Imagine the scene as the library burned, as the collective knowledge of humanity was being turned to ash. A few brave souls smuggled out the most dangerous scrolls. These scrolls contain the secrets of the Sea Kings, a maritime culture that thrived when the Sahara was a lush forest and the poles were navigable. If these source maps existed, it means that the ancient Greeks and the Egyptians before them were working from a much older template. This theory suggests a mother culture, a global civilization that was wiped out by a cataclysm, perhaps the same great flood mentioned in every religion on Earth. When we look at the Piri Reis map, we aren't seeing the work of 1513. We are seeing a copy of a copy of a copy. Each time the map was redrawn, the knowledge was slightly degraded, yet the core truth remained. The precision of the longitude on this map is the smoking gun. You cannot calculate longitude without a chronometer, a highly accurate clock. We didn't have those until John Harrison invented them in 1761. Yet here is a map from 1513, based on sources from 400 BC, that knows exactly how far apart the continents are. Someone was watching, someone was measuring. Critics of this theory argue that it's all a coincidence. They say Piri Reis just ran out of space on the gazelle skin and curled South America around to fit the edge. But that explanation falls apart when you look at the mountain ranges. The map depicts mountains in the interior of Antarctica that weren't discovered until invented in the 20th century. These aren't random bumps. They align with the actual topography buried under miles of ice. If it were a mistake or a curled South America, the mountain peaks wouldn't match the seismic soundings of the subglacial terrain. There is something even more haunting. The map uses a Mercator-like projection, but it's centered on Cairo. This indicates that the original Sea Kings were using a sophisticated mathematical grid that treated the Earth as a sphere with a high degree of accuracy. It's as if they were looking down from a high altitude. This leads us to the most controversial theory of all. Was this map made using aerial surveys? While that sounds like science fiction, the math is there. The distortion at the edges of the map is exactly what you see in a satellite photograph taken from space. We are forced to ask, were the gods of the ancient world actually a technologically advanced human society that was erased by a polar shift? Or is this evidence of something even more alien? The map is a ghost of a world we were never meant to remember. We are a species with amnesia. We have forgotten that we have been here before. The Piri Reis map is a warning from the deep past. It tells us that the world is not as stable as we think. It tells us that today's frozen wasteland was yesterday's fertile paradise. As the modern Antarctic ice shelf begins to crack and melt due to rising temperatures, we are seeing the very landforms Piri Reis drew 5 centuries ago. We are literally watching the map come to life. What will we find as the ice retreats? Will we find the ruins of the ports that these ancient sea kings used? Will we find the remains of the mother culture that mapped the world while we were supposedly struggling to build fires? The map is not a mistake. It is a key. And as we turn that key, the door to our true history is beginning to swing open. We have been lied to about our origins, but the truth is etched in the skin of a gazelle, waiting for those with the eyes to see. The question is, are you ready to see what's underneath the ice?